Travis Wingutzel. Dallin Harris Oaks. If you've noticed, he's got an arm twitch. This means that he is taking psychotropic drugs, and that means that he is seeing a psychologist, and that means that he's mentally retarded. You can call it whatever you want, it's mentally retarded. Psychologists used to call people mentally retarded. You've got a mental retardation. You need our help. All of this comes from giving asylum to Nazi psychologists in America through the CIA. They're specifically sent over to perform human experimentations for mass brainwashing experimentation. One of the forms was MK Ultra for LSD, to see if drugging people would be effective in brainwashing the masses. Oh my God, what a horror story that was. If you saw the movie or you know about LSD, which gets confused with LDS in Hollywood entertainment. Hilarious. Karl Marx, religion is the opiate of the masses. So yes, psychology has now been able to merge with evangelical Mormonism to perpetuate their brainwashing of the masses. All to do the psychologist's will over mankind, to divide and conquer America and thank their American liberators. This means that Dallin Harris Oaks is unfit for office. He is unable to receive revelation. He himself said, "I have not been receiving any revelation on how to solve the world's problems." He is unfit for office. Not just the fact that it is the church's official statement and policy that they deny any and all of the gifts required to be the head of the church. They will not have visions and dreams. They will not prophesy of the future. They will not reveal calendar dates and clock times of revelation. And they definitely don't even claim the title of translator of Paleo-Hebrew and Egyptian. That automatically means they're false. And yet, for some reason, the religious indoctrination of the church, using psychological manipulation, is able to fool Mormons into thinking the church is true, despite the obvious not. And this has resulted in Mormons defending an indefensible religion with the order of Nehor. Violence, for which Mormons have to pay to be violent, to defend Mormonism with tithing. Priestcraft enforced by violence. This is the Danites. That, oh my God, I just exposed it bigly simply by going into the Joseph Smith papers again. Just hilarious. We need to go over this yet again. Yet again. And so to have a person on drugs who's unfit for office, and remember, once you make it into the apostleship, there is no retirement. You're there until you're dead. So we've had presidents of the church who've been on their deathbeds. of commission, and yet, so, from the Joseph Smith Papers. Thus far, according to the order of the Danites, we have a company of Danites in these times to put to rights physically that which is not right, and to cleanse the church. That's similar to a white supremacist Christian nationalist slogan. Cleansing of very great evils which have hitherto existed among us, insomuch as they cannot be put to rights by teachings and persuasions. This company, or a part of them, exhibited on the 4th of July. Oh, they're patriots. They came up to consecrate by companies of tens, commanded by their captain over 10. Consecrate, huh? Yep. Swearing blood oath covenants. So, I've gone over with you Thomas B. Marsh's affidavit, in which he says exactly what he said. And the church currently says he lied. Gordon B. Hinckley, Thomas S. Monson at the pulpit of conferences said that Thomas B. Marsh was a disgruntled apostate whose wife stole milk strippings from Sidney Rigdon's wife, Sidney Rigdon's wife, and that he defended his wife's honor rather than supporting Jesus. So this is what he says in his affidavit. They have among a company consisting of all that are considered true Mormons, called the Danites, and it confirmed in the Joseph Smith Papers. Every Mormon apologist who's done a video on YouTube claiming that the Danites no longer exist, they just disappeared, we don't know what happened to them. Right here. And in the Joseph Smith Papers, confirmed the Danites are alive and well, who have taken an oath, consecrate, physically violent against Mormons who are not obeying them to support the heads of the church. This is not Joseph Smith. Not Joseph Smith. This is against Joseph Smith in all things that they say or do, whether right or wrong. Many, however, of this band are much dissatisfied with this oath as being against moral and religious principles. They are forcing Mormons to join their merry little band of cooing Joseph Smith. And yet they're uncomfortable. I don't think this is what Joseph wants. And yet, they say it is. They're framing and blaming Joseph of this. And so then he talks about how he saw And it's confirmed in the Joseph Smith papers as they keep going. Thomas B. Marsh was not excommunicated. There was no trial for his wife's honor or anything. He was still the president of the Quorum of the 12 when he went with them to Gallatin. It's in the Joseph Smith papers. And so he quit, just like many other Mormons who were not comfortable with this immoral and unreligious practices of the Danites. They are the ones who turned the name of the church to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The great and abominable church. And so Joseph Smith already knew of them because this is Brigham Young's doing. He and Heber C. Kimball forming a coup against Joseph Smith the whole time. So when they joined in 1832, in April, Joseph came out in September with all of the converts. They brought in a lot of guys going back to their hometown. They're in, is it Mendon? I think so, Mendon, New York. And they brought in a lot of people into the church, and they went on missions. And so in September, 5 months later, Joseph Smith gives Section 84, for which we all know, if I were to say the words, the church is under condemnation. Because that was Benson who brought that out again, saying the church is still under condemnation because of the misteachings of the Book of Mormon. But it's the Danites who were the ones misteaching. And so yes, when Benson says that, he says that that's why we put the subtitle, Another Testament of Jesus Christ. Joseph Smith is condemning this in Section 84. And yet, the Danites are not listening. They are lying about Joseph Smith in the Book of Mormon, being Christian. And so, December, Joseph Smith again comes out and condemns them. You are not teaching the Book of Mormon as written. You are lying about it, and therefore you are apostates sowing tares. You are choking the wheat. And that's exactly what they're saying they're doing. Is that there are Mormons who are not being obedient to Jesus. They are true Mormons. And you have to join us, and there's a covenant of death. You know, this is where all of the Brigham Young stuff come from. The blood atonement, the temple law, covenant paths, and the use of the underwear and all that stuff. And tithing comes from here. Adamon Diamond, the secret headquarters of the Danites for their plot in the latter days. They're going to coup the United States of America. Cleanse America. And turn them Mormon. And so you've got other people that are in on this that are not Mormon. Albert Pike. And the Sisters of Fatima. Still a separate video. And so it is sad that Mormons who study church history are not making this connection. not identifying the Danites with the current church today. That it is not Joseph Smith's church. These guys were horrible sex predators. And yes, Beeman Motors, framing and blaming Joseph when he was innocent. When you understand the sexual deviance of these Danites who are alive and well today, it is horrifying. And probably more so for me, having had 2 failed marriages and a whole bunch of singles wards, both younger and older singles wards, failures. After the first failure, I started embracing chick flicks. That's how bad it got. And so, yeah, I can't, I've never been able to tolerate rape. Never been able to tolerate allowing my wife and staying married when she's out whoring. When she's, I mean, dear God, and all other, oh my God. And that is just, yeah. Let me return to that quote. Because he doesn't get specific with it. He doesn't say exactly what it is. They're talking about the oath, and so they may not have been asked yet. As being against moral and religious principles. They have the Book of Mormon. They know that priestcraft is not allowed, and yet they're taking money from Mormons for their bishop's storehouse in Adamondiaman. This is the start of tithing, section 119. And they know in the Book of Mormon you're not allowed priestcraft. It will cause the destruction of the people. And no polygamy. It's right there in the Book of Mormon. And so Mormons who are literate and have read their Book of Mormon and know what the truth of the religion for moral and religious principles are now being told by these Danites to go contrary to the Book of Mormon. To go contrary to Joseph Smith and his Doctrine and Covenants of 1835, which had a whole chapter on monogamy. Exfo never most forget this. And so there was a guy who commented yesterday, or not commented, he did a video, and he did comment, that's right. And he was promoting his own video that he did 3 days ago, which is now probably 4 days ago. Could be 5 days ago, depending on when he posted his video and when he commented, and when YouTube said it was 3 days, and it could have been 4 days if it was before the 4-day period. So it could be 5. I don't care. So his video was on the Joseph Smith hoax. And he's new from 2023. He's a veteran, because originally he was doing veteran movies, and he doesn't do many. He only has 7 or so. As this is number 7 on his video title. And so he had months of time off from doing videos, and then he resumed, and he did one on the Islamic hoax, a few weeks ago, and then he did the one on Joseph Smith. He doesn't know about the Joseph Smith papers. He doesn't study it. I could probably do a whole video topic on this. This is over an hour long. I have seen many a person do this kind of video on YouTube. I even had a guy who commented, and I tried to let him know. He thinks I'm Mormon. This guy thinks I'm Mormon. I'm supporting the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Nobody understands me. I just bang my head over and over again, because people don't understand the psychologists from Nazi Germany and how they divide and conquer with a false dichotomy to put you into the one extremist camp or the other, to pit battle against each other. Yeah, exactly what's going on in our government, and it's shut down. This is the Nazis. They've risen from the grave. Zombie apocalypse. There's got to be Nazi zombie horror movie out there somewhere, right? We gotta look. We gotta look. Somebody's got to have done the video. The movie. Zombie Nazi movie. Okay, Dead Snow. Here we go. Here's a listing of them. Oh, here's Wikipedia with a listing also. Nazi zombies, Attack of the Herbals, Blood Creek, Blue Barella, Dead Snow 2, Red versus Dead. Don't play no game that I can't win. First Squad, Frankenstein versus Baragon, Frankenstein's Army, Frostbite, The Frozen Dead, The Ginseng King, Grindhouse, Hard Rock Zombies, Hell Hunters, Hellboy. Hellboy? Really? It's zombie Nazis? Huh. Okay. Horrors of War, King of the Zombies, Manborg, Night of the Zombies, Oasis of the Zombies, Operation Nazi Zombies, Outpost, Black Sun, Outpost, Rise of the Spetsnaz, Overlord, Puppet Master, The Littlest Reich, Revenge of the Zombies, Shockwaves, Sky Sharks, They Saved Hitler's Brain. War of the Dead. Worst case scenario, Zombie Lake and Zombie Massacre. Just hilarious. And so, yeah, these kinds of guys, they learn about Mormonism for the first time in their life. And so they do some research, and they cling to the conspiratorial. And the church doesn't help with this when they lie about Joseph Smith still to this day. And people are not seeing the big picture of this. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints says, yeah, we're evil, we're of the devil, but they use Jesus Christ. And so it's okay to commit rape, adultery, sexual abuse of the members with no FAP, shutting down the little factory, to commit crimes and sins, all of it perfectly justified because we're the one true church. Now, if you don't know where that comes from, section 132, Joseph Smith's forged document that replaced Joseph Smith's section on monogamy. And so calling polygamy the law, let's see how far down I have to scroll. By my word. Appointed this power and the keys of this priesthood. It's not the keys of Peter, you dumbass. But he leaves out what the keys are. Lamb's Book of Life, to fool Mormons. He shall commit no murder wherein to shed innocent blood if he abide my covenant. Time and all eternity, for his without the world, exalted and sealed upon him, the glory and fullness to is forever. They shall be God's for everlasting. Exaltation, eternal law. Yeah, here it is, verse 26. And he or she shall commit any sin or transgression of the new and everlasting covenant, whatever, and all manner of blasphemies. And if they commit no murder, wherein they shed innocent blood, yet they shall come forth in the first resurrection and enter into their exaltation. Yeah, that's doctrinally correct, isn't it? And yeah, these Danites threaten you when you say, I'm not morally and religiously comfortable of this principle. They threaten to murder you, to cleanse you. You've got to die. Blood atonement. Because I missed that part where if you, they don't, because rejecting that moral position is also going to guarantee you exaltation. But this is how warped Mormons have become because of these Danites and their doctrines. It is pure satanic, pure evil. And we've got an awesome theme song in the description below, because you've seen the pictures already, right? I put them in. The whole point and purpose is right there. The person who's been with me since 2015 linked me to it yesterday. It is awesome. Yep, the children in Zion will now be taught correctly. But I'm horrified that the school system wants to remain antiquated and obsolete. That they have to have teachers so that they can pay them, rather than this kind of an education for kids in a technologically advanced society where every kid is on a cell phone now. And religions like the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are screaming in horror of how evil cell phones are, how evil technology and the internet are, and that it's destroying our kids. And yet, right here is the answer to solve all of these problems. And nobody cares to do it. It's the extremes to destroy our nation and to send us back into the dark ages where people didn't bathe and then blamed the Jews for bathing, calling them witches. God, it's pathetic. And so yes, videos teaching kids about the alphabet, English grammar. YouTube recommended a Sesame Street episode with Ernie meeting the Flasher. Can I sell you an 8? He's wearing the trench coat, flashes. Can I sell you an 8? That's going a little bit too far. Because kids are taught, stay away from stranger dangers. And so that just encourages kids to embrace stranger dangers who want to show them something. But anyway, it was still hilarious as an adult. Sesame Street, it's not for kids. Cartoons, they're not for kids. And so, yes, when you have a president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints who's fully into this Danite doctrination, threatening Mormons, as Oaks has done repeatedly at conference, to obey, to be Nazi strict, and then to find out that he's not in the right mind, that he is taking drugs that is causing brain damage. Because he doesn't have brain damage. He doesn't have mental retardation before he saw his psychologist. And it may have been that he saw the psychologist around the same time as his mom did when he was a kid. I don't know. They don't say. But the fact that his mom was, I know damn well, the psychologists were able to trick him into thinking, well, your mom, yeah, she was taking psychotropic drugs for her problem. Really, what was her problem? Please, tell me. What was her problem? Her husband dies. She's a widow in the early 1900s. Almost mid-1900s. Because he's in his 80s now, right? Or is he in his 90s? "93 years old, yeah." And so 35, so yeah, it was World War II time, around that time, when his dad died. and yeah, Nazis, psychologists, yeah, in Utah, yeah, exactly. women still did not have rights. The women's suffrage movement happened, but still women were not encouraged, especially here in Utah with a church that said women need to stay at home barefoot, pregnant in the kitchen where they belong. They need to keep silence in the church and have long hair, flowing, long, wavy hair. Not that beehive crap. That was a creepy thing that I noticed in hair history of Mormon women. When one woman started a style, it caught on to the other women. They all wanted to have it. What the hell's going on? Stop it! And same with other accessories and fashion. You know, they all clung together like bees. Can't you be an original? And so, yeah, there she is, a widow with kids, I think just the 2 boys. And now she is all alone, and the church obviously is not taking care of her. So she's got to take care of all the finances. You need to understand these women back in those days knew how to do nothing. When I was at Rick's College and had a job working at the gas station, and they assigned me out to, I can't remember what other town. There were still women from that time period who didn't even know how to put gas in a tank. That's how out of it they were. They knew how to drive, they got a driver's license, because they kind of had to. But how to fix a tire? No, that's man's work. That's where it comes from. It's not just a sexist thing against women. It was a sexist thing against men, too. And so when you get into the 70s and the 80s and the 90s of shows that are comedies about marriages and couples and their little spats that they have, men's work, woman's work, that's where it all comes from. It was real. There were certain things. The Family Proclamation explains this for you. The roles of man and woman in the marriage. They won't be specific, but that's what they mean. And it is horrifying, the way the church has treated women. And the church, you know, Jesus, I guess we got to obey because we don't want to be smitten down by Jesus. It is just awful. And so, yeah, she's completely stressed. How do I take care of my family? What am I going to do? I don't know how to do anything for a job. I've got these 2 boys. How are they going to be taken care of if I have to go and get a job, etc., etc.? It crushed her. The love of her life is gone, and she's crushed. And instead of sympathizing and empathizing and helping, a psychologist from Nazi Germany comes along and says, "You're mentally retarded. Here's some drugs. Let's put you in an asylum." And so Dallin Harris Hoax, "Oh yeah, my mommy's mentally retarded. Yeah." And then they come along and say, "Well, it's genetically transferred. It's in your DNA. Your mommy had it. Yeah. I see it in you. We can help you. Here's some drugs." And he's got tardive dyskinesia now. So if that was it, and all I knew about Dallin Harris Oaks, yeah, I'd sympathize and empathize with him. but it's not. He literally has transformed into a Nazi. He even gives a Heil Hitler. I make these connections that nobody else is capable of doing. And so when you hear stuff and you go, yeah, the church is evil, or yeah, the church is so true, you're a zombie Nazi apocalypse. You're just plagiarizing what other people told you. That's what that guy has done, most likely. Because the other guy who came, yeah, I'm doing a whole video channel on how the church isn't true. Joseph Smith is evil, of the devil, he's a fraud. I know the truth now. No, he's just plagiarizing stuff. Jeremy Runnels, you ain't nothing special. You plagiarized the Tanners. You got your information from other people and you put it into a letter. You plagiarized. You didn't bother to do the research yourself. You didn't check it. You just assumed that it must be true because somebody said it. Church is trying to cover it up and deny it. Something must be there. Or the church comes out and confesses, yeah, Joseph Smith was a child rapist, an adulterer, polygamist. Yeah, he was, yeah, Jesus. And it's our moral and religious principle. It's the law of chastity. You better obey. And so Mormons go, oh yeah, okay, yeah, we can have sex with little underage girls and married women, and because that's what the church teaches when they say that Joseph Smith did it. And then the church says, well, you can't do it when you get caught. But Joseph Smith did it. The church said he's our founder. Well, the United States of America is making this difficult for us. But when we cleanse America of their sins and wickedness, then we'll restore it. But until then, shut off your little factory. Oh my God. So yeah, Dallin Harris Oaks is near death, and he's unfit, and he's leaking things that he should not be leaking. And one of those is destroying the economy. And so sure enough, here we go. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has been actively for decades going around the world to cause this mental extremist divisions around the whole world, to divide and conquer using the psychology of the Nazis. But this is their 200-year-old plot anyway. The Book of Mormon warns of this. They warned of Karl Marx before Karl Marx came out with his Religion as the Opiate of the Masses and his Communist Manifesto. The Book of Mormon warned about even Sigmund Freud and his psychology attempts, which was moderate compared to the Nazis' transformation of it. The Book of Mormon warns of Darwin before Darwin published Origin of the Species. The Book of Mormon warned against that French name from Bulgaria. My comment on the Deseret News was erased in 2008. When I put in the correct answer and some other Mormon dumbass, it's called the Hubble telescope for a reason. Inventor. Big bang. No, not theory. Oh, well, yeah, I guess theory. Yeah, Georges Lemaitre. French. It's awesome. So, yeah, until then, Edwin Hubble, everybody believed, was the one. See, Hubble supported Georges. And there's Albert Einstein, the dumbass. I mean, that Scully just ripped him to shreds in her document that she did. That was awesome. That endeared me to the show, not just because the first ex and I were watching that to start, because she was thinking about how the show should be, and she immediately caught on to her interpretation of our marriage with that pilot episode. You've got this woman who's educated, career-driven, and smarter than Einstein. And then you've got Mulder. He's a troublemaker. He's way out there with his beliefs. That's how she saw our marriage when we're just starting out, when the show came out. And so that was going to be our show. We were going to watch that show every episode. And then as a couple of episodes get going, she starts to realize that Mulder is the one who is actually stable. And all of Scully's beliefs are going to be challenged. And so she abandoned the show. Was not going in the direction she wanted it to go. To put me in my place. What the hell? Why did you marry me again? Why? So, we've got a financial crisis that's about to hit the fan today. And Oakes has again neglected his duty as the head of the church. In case you hadn't caught on to the theme yet. All hell is breaking loose. I warned you of Project 2025 last year. I had pictures made and showing the connection to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints through the Council for National Policy. I went over the Project 2025 and what it was planning to do. To overthrow the government and pass all authority to the states. To do away with federal funding for everything. Nobody wanted to listen, nobody wanted to believe, and here we are. And still people are in denial. They aren't making the connection that this is why. And so, at the beginning of Trump's presidency, among the many things he throws out there, because you never bothered to read his Art of the Deal and what he does. Nonetheless, he talked about doing away with SNAP. And then people would get upset. The Antifa would get upset. And so then he'd try to pacify them with a softer version. Well, let's just consider giving them a box of food. Just a simple box in place of SNAP. This was also back in his first term. This is a repeat, remember? Oaks got leaked. Everything is being repeated. Even yesterday in the news, oh my God, the repeat from 2020 of people on video cameras not wearing, not wearing pants. It's back, baby. It's back. All of it's back. Except for one thing that still has not been repeated. Americans getting money. Trump keeps promising, oh, the tariffs are going to make us so rich. My big, beautiful bill. No. We want money. Gimme, gimme, gimme. He's not doing it this year. That's the only thing not being repeated. I'm even repeating. I'm on a roll. Nonetheless, that's what happens when you have actual gifts. You're not a fraud. Hilarious. And so, yeah, he failed for April. And so it's been extended. I've gone over this with you guys. They've been trying since 2024 to repeat, and they keep failing. Here we are again. And so, yeah, they're doing this finance bill, as they have to do every year, as an extortion threat. Previous years, Democrats would cave and allow the suffering of Americans to persist to keep the government going. But this particular time, it's health insurance that's on the line. They pit health insurance with a government shutdown and everything that comes with a shutdown. And food for mothers, infants, and children, and the poor are the extortion threat. Everybody knows it's MAGA's bill. And so when you hear Johnson get up and say the Democrats are responsible, what he means is the Democrats are not agreeing to the bill as they wrote it, MAGA. And so all the Dems have to do is sign it, and then we can put an end to the shutdown. Well, yeah, but then Medicaid and Medicare and healthcare is gone. Because that's in Project 2025. That's why it's in the bill. They're not telling Fox News viewers this. They're leaving out what's in the bill. And we've already seen it. Trump takes over and starts punishing his own people who voted for him. Legitimately, not projectively through AI. And, you know, the deep state Dem press, Antifa press, they love that because they put on their show the people who were betrayed by Trump. And yet Fox just calls them rhinos, or betrayers, Antifa in disguise, etc. The extremist attacks. But this is what they're doing, because both healthcare and SNAP have to go. And that's how they figured they'd do it. They want this. And so Trump is now trying to do a filibuster for a nuclear option. He's calling for it to end the shutdown, to get the bill passed. If the Senate does this, Trump will be able to pass every single bill he wants, because it only requires 50 votes in the Senate rather than 60. And I've got to stop the camera. Bastard. There is no explanation of why he's not doing it every day now. He pulled in last night, and I knew it, and here we are at 6:30. And so all of the federal government has to be shut down. Every single state must run their own state. And so the state of Utah has to take care of the poor the way they want to take care of the poor, which is to murder you. Do you not believe me? God, you've got the scriptures with the forged DANITE documents, and I even covered it early in the video, and you're not believing me? Section 119. 5 and 6. Verily I say unto you, it shall come to pass that all those who gather unto the land of Zion, or who are already living in Zion, shall be tithed of their surplus properties, and shall observe this law, or they shall not be found worthy to abide among you. The Danite cleansing. You have to pay. It's not a donation, you dumbass billionaire. And I say unto you, if my people observe not this law to keep it holy, and by this law sanctify the land of Zion unto me. Really? Money sanctifies land? That my statutes and judgments may be kept thereon, that it may be most holy. Behold. So the statutes and judgments are beyond that. That's polygamy. That's the other uncomfortable moral and religious principles of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It shall not be a land of Zion unto you. Blood atonement. You die. Now granted, Trump, with his deportation, is supposed to be deporting the apostates from Utah in advance, so that when the nation falls and Trump is assassinated, the church gets their kingdom back and they have less apostates to worry about to cleanse. If you are not MAGA, if you are everything that MAGA hates, you gotta go, if you hadn't caught on. That's what they mean by illegal. That's what they mean by terrorist. That's what they mean by Antifa. And you witnessed in Utah, for example, since it's all about Utah, Governor Cox saying, but we are going after the illegals. He's playing dumb. He's a direct descendant of the Danites. And he's purposely violating Trump's orders. And so now that people are not going to have money for food, maybe, possibly, there's more stuff to cover. We're not done yet. They're not even bothering to replace the SNAP money with the emergency fund for Utah. They didn't bother. They're not talking about it. They're going to donate 40 million, or 4 million, not 40, oh no, 4 million, to the food pantries in Utah. Notice the church isn't even involved. I did a search for food pantries. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints' welfare square was not even listed. Nope. The church in Utah is not considered a charity. The church has made it very clear for decades since Welfare Square was created that people can't just come to get support and aid. It's a church thing. You have to go through your bishop, you have to be approved, you have to be working, you have to be paying your tithing first. And that's the tragedy of this. All the people that are furloughed and mothers with infants and children who are not going to get money, and the poor, they're not paying tithing. They got to go. They got to die. They're unworthy. Utah must be cleansed for Zion. Obviously a contradiction from the Book of Mormon, Joseph Smith, and even the Bible. And I'm trying to do the videos to warn an ex-phone never mows come out and say, Joseph Smith is a fraud. He didn't even bother to watch my other channels, or at least go to the video page. Oh crap, this guy has a lot of videos. Maybe I should listen to him before I start doing a channel on it. And that's what the other guy did. He gave up. He was all hyped. He was going to do presentations about how the church is false with this and how the church was false with that. Joseph Smith is the con artist. And I reached out to him and explained, I'm not favoring the church. And I debated for a long time about the veteran yesterday, if I could be able to reach him. And it's clear I couldn't. Going to his channel, seeing what he has, seeing that he's a veteran, and being hurt right now with Trump. Yeah, I can't reach him right now. I had to let him go. I couldn't just delete his comment and reach out to him on his video about Joseph Smith. I cannot foresee it working in this format online through YouTube. Because of the way it's set up, I would have promoted him by clicking on his video. I ain't doing that. So, yeah, I haven't heard from James in a long while. Are you doing okay, James? Are you even listening? Are you still alive? Did they finally get you? But yeah, in the beginning, when I had 40,000 views, back then, they weren't ghost subscribers that you now see today. the 1,500 or however many I supposedly have, most of them are dead. There were people who followed me and were commenting, and then COVID happened and they're dead. The year where I showed the fruits of who I am, the keys of who I am, and they're dead. Very, very few, less than a handful, still remain to this day. I watched as even some of them gave up because their lives went to hell. They couldn't endure to the end as I've been forced to endure to the end. When Joseph Smith says that Mormons would be in bondage in the latter days, he wasn't kidding. Dear God. Mormons need to be freed. And I don't know if being free, because there's still going to be scars, mental scars from the damage that the church has caused. Because no psychologist will be allowed in Zion. I will have to pioneer the whole scientific research of psychology to reconstruct it from the core. And so, yeah, there are just too many wackos in this church who have embraced a form of psychology and all of its damage that it does to a person's life. I don't, seriously, everybody that makes it to Zion, I don't know how they're going to be able to, but yeah, I still see that by using truth from logic and science, that Zion will be the place where technology just dwarfs the rest of the nations from where they are now. Instantly dwarfs. Because people are using science, no monetary system of economy to hold any of this back. And we'll just totally overwhelm the world's capacity for knowledge that they thought was only possible. And but until we save Mormons and get them to Zion and get it all set up and organized and running, that's just a pipe dream. So, 3rd Nephi 7, guys. That's what they're doing. I warned you. Book of Mormon warned you. Joseph Smith warned you. Here it is. So, Head Start for kids also is stopping tomorrow. Johnson says to threaten the Democrats in the Senate to encourage that they pass the bill. He's canceling the House Republicans' paychecks. No more paychecks for the House Republicans until the shutdown is over. They're not even showing to work anyway. Until the Senate passes the bill, there's no reason for the House to continue to do anything else. And so Johnson's not calling them to work. And now he's not paying them. You do know that Trump, by saying to resume nuclear testing, means that it's likely to nuke those in St. George again. You do know about that this year, Utah, federal government, they were wanting to continue to pay those who were harmed by the nuclear testing on Mormons down in St. George, right? Federal government's shutting down, guys. They're not paying you anymore. State of Utah is required to deal with you, whether they want to deal with you. Nobody's getting that. And so now Trump is saying, well, okay, you want money to fund you? Well, we're going to nuke you then. Nuke you again. A rising generation about to get nuked. Mormons in St. George need to be rescued. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is not saving any of you. They're keeping you there, and Trump has ordered nuclear testing to resume. If you do not know the horrors of being nuked, dear God. So there were a couple of ancient Middle East stuff that I catch. You guys don't catch. The guy who got arrested for laundering money in Iraq, who lived in Riverton, Mormon, for the National Guard. He talked about being there in Iraq and seeing the Temple of Marduk. I already knew, but yeah, he came back and told us how he saw the Temple of Babel, the Tower of Babel. No, it isn't. You dumbass. It is not your field of expertise. You just believed whatever somebody else told you to believe for tourist purposes, for money. And Christians who are mentally retarded because of the first creed of Christianity. The Tower of Babel, as Christians put everything into literal history and therefore chronological order with a time frame of around the 2000s BCE. That's when they claim the Tower of Babel existed and fell. The Temple of Marduk and of Babylon was built in the 600 CE or BCE. BCE. Well, over 1,500 years later. 1,500. Of Babylon did not exist. And this is the problems that are numerous by the first creed of Christianity. Is that you've got these chronological problems now in history. And the way the Christians settle it is, well, science is wrong, we're right, rewrite history. The Bible is the literal history truth now. No, it's not. So yeah, the Temple of Marduk is suffering from climate change. It's eroding out there in the desert. And so it's not going to be preserved for much longer. Well, if you built your temple out of sand, that's what you get. The Egyptians built it out of stone. Tower of Babel was something completely different. It has to do with the Egyptian story of the first death of Osiris, but nonetheless. Nobody cares. The other one is the new Grand Egyptian Museum that is showcasing the Antichrist Ramses II. You know why they're doing this. You know they know about Christians and the Ten Commandments of Yul Brynner and Charlton Heston. You know they know. Again, Christians turn the scriptures of the Jews into literal history. The Egyptologists, even though most of them are Islamic, purposely do this for tourism purposes to make money. And so Ramses II, come and see the Pharaoh who got defeated by Moses. No. Not even close. But nonetheless, it's what it was based on when the Jews wrote it in the Qumran community days. Just like David Moses III and Armageddon won against the Hittites. So, New York State added themselves to Louisiana, suing the federal government. It's pretty much a waste of time to do that nowadays. They're shutting down the federal government. No suing in the federal government anymore. Do you not get it? States have to decide things, but over the cutting off of food benefits. And so it's being handled by a federal judge. And she is concerned by the Trump administration's prosecutor or lawyers trying to defend the position. They're saying that she asked, well, why can't you use the federal emergency funds for this? And they were saying, well, because SNAP sounds like an emergency with the federal government being shut down. It's not just going to starve people. It's also going to affect the grocery stores. And so, sure enough, local news here in Utah, interviewing grocery stores, we're concerned we're not going to have money. Yeah. They're collapsing the economy with this. Destroy healthcare or we destroy the nation. But if you destroy healthcare, you're going to destroy the nation also. It's a no-win situation. They're shutting down the federal government. They're ending all of it. But the federal judge is going to be ruling today. So pay attention for that. And the appeal to the appeals court. And then going to the Supreme Court. So it's unclear if money is going to be given out when she rules that the emergency funds must be used to pay for SNAP. The Trump administration doesn't even listen to the judges anyway. But if she rules and they don't appeal it, or if the appeals court says, no, you have to use the emergency funds, and the Trump administration refuses to do it anyway, then you're going to have civil war in America. I guarantee it. And they'll finally get what they wanted. And then Trump will send in the troops to crush the Antifa, who are claiming that they're starving, won't get a job. So yeah, it's going to be ugly. The pantries are already begging for help. Not just because it's their job. and they get paid. But they're dependent on donations. And so, yeah, the 4 million split among all of them that are not the church. Oh, if they give money to the church's welfare, oh, that would be a scandal. Salt Lake Tribune, are you monitoring this? Pay attention to where the money goes. Does the church get 3.5 million and the rest only get 500,000 to split among them? Oh, that would be all hell breaking loose. And so, yeah, they're dependent on donations, federal funding, and it's all being cut off. So, yep, this is it. They're making it happen. And so, with the resuming of nuclear testing, yeah, start nuking the cities that are rebelling and rioting over no food. Let them eat nukes. God. So to finish us off, finish us off. Finish us off. George Albert Smith and the Nuke Prophecy. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints stopped temples. With the announcements in April, that's it. No more. I had caught on, and nobody else believed and understood, that after April conference, there were no more scheduled apostle devotionals for young single adults. They weren't happening. There was some youth stuff, young men's organization anniversary, but nothing. But they'd always, in the past, announced a prophet who would speak at these devotionals. And they did, Holland and Kieran, for before the conference in October. And so after October conference, there was nothing scheduled until now. They've had the one for Holland where he was assigned to speak when he claims he was on an assignment in Kirtland for church business as the Quorum of the 12 president. And so Oaks assigned him to do something out there in Kirtland during that talk that I did the video on. And so it's unclear as to what could possibly be done further out there. They've already had the rededication, they've already gotten all of the documents and the temple up and running, and so it doesn't seem like there would be anything more to do out there. But apparently he did. He got assigned by Oaks to do something out there, and they're not telling us what it was. It's keeping it a sacred secret. But then Anderson is Sunday to the young adults, finally. They released yesterday the schedule for events for 2026. And they've got when devotionals are planned for the young single adults again. But the difference this time is that there are no listed apostles. Before, yeah, they'd have the apostle who is scheduled to speak for each of those things. just like they did for this year. Way back from the beginning, Holland was going to speak. And he was assigned in Kirtland during the time he was supposed to speak. So he does his video out in Kirtland to be given for that video the other time. But nothing, no names of apostles are given of who's going to speak next year. But they've got the schedule up. And it's resuming the young single adult devotionals again. So that is also telling. Oakes is near death. He's failing to do his job, which could be because he's near death. Being on drugs, tardive dyskinesia, he is not able to feel the Spirit accurately. As he's talking as an old man, talking about the good old days of being Amish and surviving as a survival of the fittest in family groups. As all this year, he had 5 death threats about Easter. Look forward to Easter. You're all gonna die, but the righteous will be resurrected. That's not the talk of a sane person. And yeah, he's got mental retardation, like I said at the beginning. This is why you got to keep this in perspective. Look at the bigger picture of what's going on. What he has said before, what is happening now from what he's said before, what he's been leaked, how he thinks as president. You gotta pay attention. You can't just casually be a Mormon. You're in bondage to the great and abominable church. They're gonna murder you. They're stealing from you, and they're causing you to commit crimes for them. And so, yeah, they know Armageddon is near because they plotted it, set it all up, even though it's been failing. This time it's not going to fail. They're forcing it to work. And they're refusing to hand over this church to me so I can save your lives. They are not going to do it. They are going down with this church rather than admit that they are wrong and they're the enemy and hand over the church to me. They will never do it. So I have no idea how it's going to all happen anyway, despite the dream yesterday. Because Mormons don't know about me. They've made sure to silence my channel. Even ex-foes don't even care to be Mormon anymore, let alone want anything to do with Zion because of the tainting that this church has done to it. And so I don't know how to save people's lives. I can't. I just have to do videos, and people have to find it, run the test, and then hearken. That's what the scripture prophecies told you to do. You know, I don't have superpowers. Sorry, I'm not Jesus. Not even Superman, even though I am of the house of L. And so, yeah, I'm deeply concerned about the fate of Mormons, and it's been causing troublesome sleep. And that is not good for me. I need my sleep. I need my schedule back. Because I'm bored waiting. Because doing videos is useless for the most part. I am not allowed breakout videos anymore. They have shut me down with their new AI programming, and the YouTube Mormon employee that also makes sure that the AI programming is against me. And it is sad that he is so calloused to hate you guys, that he thinks that I am false and I must be silenced and shut up, when he doesn't even bother with the other ex-foes who are getting millions of views. He doesn't care about them. He doesn't try to stop them. It's just me. Because I'm the one telling the truth, doing the research. The others aren't. They're just spreading the lies that the church said are true. Yep. We're rapists. Yep. We're adulterers. Yep. We're murderers. Yep. We're thieves. Yep. We hold people in bondage. Yep. Jesus. Join or die. Keep your covenants or die. And so, yeah, they know that there's some changes coming in the leadership. That there's Armageddon anytime now. But they're still trying to deceive Mormons into thinking that the church is going to continue on as normal. And it's not. Your lives are about to be completely changed forever. Your lives will never be the same again. The life you are living and got used to as the normal, it's going to be gone. And then you'll be told that this is the new normal, and you need to deal with it, cope with it, and if you can't, you need to go to a psychologist, be drugged and destroyed. Just like Oaks. Just like Oaks.